Hello there viewers. For today's video, I will be explaining the specialized units and buildings in the Conquerors 3 and determining if you should use them. Let's jump right in. There are multiple categories. Anti-Infantry, which contains snipers and stealth bomber units. Anti-Air, which contains anti-air soldier, tank, turret, along with the destroyer. Anti-Building, which only contains artillery. Last but not least, Anti-Naval, which only contains the submarine. Starting with the sniper, costing $70 to train in the barracks, this unit does very high damage to infantry, along with outranging all infantry units except itself. The downside to this unit is that it is extremely slow and must be guarded in either an escort formation or garrisoned in a vehicle unit, such as a jeep or hovercraft. The optimal number of snipers you should have in your army is 2. If the situation calls for it, you could get 4 snipers, but you would be investing too much into infantry, and they could easily counter with tanks depending on the map. To ensure this unit stays alive, it is a good idea to have meat shields for it. A good unit for this task would be light infantry, as they only cost $10 each and have the same HP as heavies. Overall, the sniper is very good to use early game, as your opponent will likely use infantry to try to fend you off. It can also be good in defending or attacking mountain outposts. For our next anti-infantry unit, we have the stealth bomber. This unit requires a research of $75 and takes 8 minutes to completely research with just one research center. Plus $150 to produce the actual unit in the airport. The special ability with this unit is that it is invisible to all infantries except anti-air soldiers. It can also take down enemy economy quite quickly even in small numbers. The downsides, however, are its low health, high cost, and the fact that pretty much everything can target it and destroy it due to its low health. This unit is not recommended to be used unless you have significant experience with the game. A better alternative would be to research Space Link, as the fighters are much easier to use and not debilitating if you lose a couple. Plus, they have higher health than stealth. Take for instance this player. He talks down on stealth as it requires no skill and exclaims that space takes so much more skill, it is much harder to use, which is simply not the case due to the fact that space has higher health and can easily defend itself, while stealth cannot, so be wary of using stealth. In most situations, you will want to go for space instead. Next, we have the anti-air category. This consists of anti-air soldier, which is $50 and produced in barracks, anti-air tank, which is $90 and built in tank factory, and anti-air turret, which is $85, along with a naval unit destroyer, which costs $120 and built in naval docks. All of these units are good, except anti-air tank. You are better off getting anti-air soldiers instead, as they are a good early counter to stealth. They also have a higher damage output than an anti-air tank and can be shielded by vehicles. Anti-air turrets can be good as well, but they are very expensive. You should only deploy them on valuable resources such as supercrystals. This will deter enemy aircraft from taking over the area. As for a destroyer, you should only get them on devoted naval maps such as the Three Corner Cave map. They can block off entrances against air units or hurt them if they try to get through your blockade. And it can also target submarines, but we'll get to that later. Ultimately, you should avoid getting anti-air tank in its current state. it is simply not worth getting. The anti-air soldier outclasses it by a large margin. Now for the anti-building unit, the artillery battery. This unit requires a research of $55 and takes 9 minutes to completely research with one research center. It is produced in a fort for $115 each. This unit is most useful at sieging heavily fortified bases or those out of reach on mountains due to its incredible range. The downside of this unit is that it can only target buildings, has low health, and is rather slow. It must be protected by other units. But this unit is definitely resourceful in many situations, especially if you're able to get a mountain base right next to the enemy home base. You could also argue that a stealth bomber could be an anti-building unit due to its high damage output in large numbers. Simply use tanks to draw fire and then send the stealth bombers in. But in this case, we are going by main abilities. Overall, the artillery unit is definitely worth the price if you can spare it. If money is a problem, then you should probably focus on regular units. Finally, we have the anti-naval unit, the submarine. It costs $75 to research and only takes 2 minutes with one research center to complete. Can be produced in naval docks for $150. Its special ability is that it can only be targeted by destroyer units or enemy submarines. It can be a very good unit if the enemy is not expecting you to use subs, as it can lock down the oceans in certain maps. For large scale maps though, it is typically not recommended to use, due to the fact that super crystals will be used, meaning more income to either use an airport for aerial transport or making docks farther away from your subs. And that concludes this video. I was going to go over landmines and sea mines, but they are really situational. If you do happen to use them, try to ensure they are placed where enemy units most definitely will be coming from. Otherwise, they will be useless. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I will usually reply in some way. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later.